3 weeks ago, a guy I know with a $180,000 net worth told me he couldn't handle 2 months of reduced hours. I'll show you why the math agreed with him. Your bank account can show you a big number and still lie to you about whether you're safe. There's a different number that tells you the truth. It's called your margin score, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm Alden Ledger. I've spent a long time watching money do things people don't expect, and the same pattern keeps showing up in high earners. They make 6 figures, they save responsibly, and one bad quarter can still break them. Most finance advice measures your engine. I'm going to measure your fuel tank, because an engine doesn't matter if the tank runs dry. If you make 6 figures and your income dropped 20% for 2 months next quarter, most of you couldn't cover rent. That's not an opinion. That's what the math says. And if that's true, and I'll prove it is, then your real financial picture isn't the one on your pay stub. It's the one you'd face if things got mildly inconvenient for 60 days. In the next 7 minutes, I'll show you 3 things. 1. The number that actually measures safety. 2. Why most emergency fund advice is wrong for people at your income. 3. The correct order to fix it. Let's start with someone I talked to last week, Mike, 34, senior dev at a fintech startup in Brooklyn. The kind of guy who reads Fed meeting minutes for fun, walks into my kitchen last Sunday, half smiling, half stressed. He'd just gotten a Slack from his company. Reduced hours, 20% for 2 months while they restructure. Not a layoff, just a rough quarter. I'll be fine. I save 15%. I've got a good credit score. I'm not worried. I asked him to run one calculation with me. Net paycheck, $8,200 a month. Then the fixed costs. Rent, $2,800. Car, $520. Insurance, $240. Debt minimums, $1,100. Phone, subscriptions. Gym, another $450. Total, $5,110. 62% of his income already spoken for before he makes a single decision. Average for his salary tier. Which is exactly why this matters. Now apply the shock. Income drops 20%. Paycheck goes from $8,200 to $6,560. Fixed costs. Still $5,110. What's left is his real breathing room. Except the hours cut isn't 1 month, it's 2. Fixed costs bill him twice. His real score, across the full shock, is -3. Fragile. His half smile was gone by then. That number has a name. Your margin score, how far you are from panic. In percentages, not dollars. Below 0. Fragile. Where he was. A bad quarter eats you alive. 0 to 10. Surviving. You make it through? White-knuckled. 10 to 20. Stable. Bad months are inconvenient, not existential. Above 20. Free. You wouldn't even notice the drop. Here's what should stop you. The guy in my kitchen saves 15% of his income. Almost nobody saves that much. And his margin score is still -3. His savings rate tells him he's responsible. His margin score tells him he's exposed. 2 people. Same salary. Same savings rate. One has a leaner life. Fixed costs, $4,100. Margin score, +14. Stable. Other has a nicer everything. -3. Fragile. Same income, same savings rate. One will sleep fine this quarter, the other won't. A quick honest note before the math people fill the comments. Yes, taxes scale when income drops. Yes, variable spending falls with it. The real number is within 5% of this. But the point of this framework isn't forensic accuracy. It's direction. Knowing whether you're walking toward the cliff or away from it. This is why the number matters. Every finance tool you've been given measures how fast your engine runs. None of them measure how much fuel is left if the engine stutters. Here's the formula for anyone who wants to pause and run theirs. Net income times 0.7 minus fixed costs. Divide by net income times 100. Pause if you need to. I'll wait. All right, you ran the number. Now, what do you do about it? This is where almost every finance creator gives the same answer. And this is where I'm going to tell you they're wrong. Standard advice. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund before anything else. Ramsey says it. For the person I was talking to last Sunday, and probably for you, It's the wrong first move. For low earners, the advice is gold. When you're living on fumes, buffer is survival. Nobody disputes that. I'm not disputing that. But for high earners with bloated structures, same advice, completely different outcome. And that's where the trap lives. Run it on the guy in my kitchen. He takes standard advice, builds a $20,000 emergency fund, 3 months of his current life. Takes him a year of aggressive saving. Now what happens? Stop for a second. I know this is a lot, so let me name what I'm really asking you to consider. It feels amazing. His score moves from -3 to +12. Stable band. He sleeps better, and I understand the appeal. But here's the pattern I've watched for 3 years. Fewer than 1 in 5 high earners who build the buffer first actually cut their structure within 24 months. They can't. Comfort 1. He doesn't move apartments, doesn't downsize the car, doesn't attack the debt. Why would he? He's stable. The urgency is gone. A year later, he still has a 62% fixed cost ratio and a buffer that's 1 bad quarter from empty. He bought comfort, not safety. An emergency fund inside an unfixed structure is painkillers for a broken leg. You feel better. You stop limping. You don't heal. And the next real impact breaks you worse. Here's the mechanism I keep seeing. Every hard decision about structure requires a little discomfort to stay urgent. The buffer removes the discomfort, so the decision gets postponed indefinitely. A comfortable, fully funded, structurally broken life is the most expensive form of staying stuck. You just don't feel it until the next real crisis. And by then, you're out of runway. Here's the sequence I tell the people I actually work with, for high earners specifically. Step 1. $1,000 starter buffer. Not 3 months. 1,000. Just enough to keep you sane while you make the hard decisions. Step 2. Cut structure. Renegotiate rent. Downsize the car. Kill the biggest recurring charge you've been defending, the one that actually makes you flinch when I name it. Step 3. Now build the real buffer. 3 months of your new lower fixed costs, smaller target, stronger protection. Path A, emergency fund first. 20 grand buffer. 62% ratio, still fragile. Path B, structure first. 12 grand buffer, 45% ratio, stable to free. Less buffer, more safety. Because structure is harder to cut after you feel safe. The small buffer keeps you functional while you make hard choices. The big buffer lets you skip them. That's the whole difference between surviving the next shock and growing past it. Every creator telling you emergency fund first is giving advice optimized for the median American. If you're a high earner with a bloated structure, that advice keeps you in a gold cage. Comfortable, not safe. I know this upsets people. I've watched people argue this both ways for years. The math wins every time, because the math doesn't care how much you've staked on being right. Am I saying don't have an emergency fund? No, I'm saying don't build it first, and don't build it enormous, inside a life that's already eating you alive. Mike? He made the decision most people avoid. Didn't build the buffer first. Broke his lease. Sold the car. Started driving used. 9 weeks later, Mike's margin score had moved 14 points. Same salary. Different life. And the Fed minutes were still boring him to sleep. Now, you. 4 steps. Real net income. What lands in your account? Times 0.7. Minus fixed costs. Everything recurring. Divide by net times 100. 6 minutes if you have your pay stub. Find your band. Below 0. Fragile. 0 to 10. Surviving. 10 to 20. Stable. Above 20. Free. If you're fragile, $1,000 buffer first. Then cut the biggest structural cost. Then build the real buffer, in that order. If you're surviving, same sequence. You're just further along. Don't let comfort trick you into stopping. If you're stable, optimize upward. If you're free, you probably aren't watching this. But if you are, teach someone. If the number you just calculated scared you, that fear is accurate. Your gut already knew. The number just told you how much. It's fixable. It's fixable without pretending. One last thing. Saving more inside a broken structure doesn't fix it. You can't save your way out of a life that's already too expensive. Plug the hole first, then the saving sticks. Other creators measure the engine. I measure the fuel tank. So run yours. Post the number in the comments. No context, no excuses. Just the score. I'll read every comment and tell you which band you're in and which lever to pull first. Next video on this channel. How to cut your fixed cost ratio by 15 points in 90 days, without moving, without selling the car, without a second job. And the video after that, why for fragile band earners, maxing the 401k match might be mathematically wrong. I know how that sounds. The math is the math. This channel is going to disagree with a lot of finance advice. If that's the kind of finance you want, subscribe. The number I just taught you doesn't care about your feelings, your credit score, your job title, your apartment. It only asks one question. How close are you to the edge? And then gives you a chance to move. Most people won't run this number. Because once they do, they can't pretend anymore. So if you're watching this in a kitchen, or a car, or on a train, you have a choice most people don't make. You can actually see. I'm Alden Ledger, and I measure the fuel tank.